What's right with Nick Wright? Ladies and gentlemen, Nick Wright loses his mind over the Pelicans-Hawks trade during the NBA draft. Last night was the NBA draft, all right? The Pelicans made a little trade, okay? So they make a trade that's making some waves. We're going to talk about it here today. Did that rhyme? I don't think so. Before I get into that video, last night I fulfilled, packed, not shipped, but packed all that stuff. Probably 30-ish orders from the store. The store is live, if you heard. Those should be going out today, which is Thursday. So if you are one of the first 30 orders, which there's no way for you to know, but, you know, then you should be getting your merch pretty soon. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you this right now before we get into the video. Doing it was unbelievable, okay? First of all, I've never done that before, never shipped. I'm doing everything in-house. Shipping labels, package slips, folding the product, packing the product, shipping the product. The situation was relatively seamless once I learned what was going on here. I figured there'd be some trials and errors. Not a lot of errors, at least I don't hope so. To see where these are going, Portland, Oregon, Missouri, Ohio, Sulphur, Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Austin, Texas. It is unfreaking believable. The support, it was surreal doing it. It was incredible. Brought a tear to my eye. Not really. Never cried a day in my life. But, yeah, I just want to thank you all again for the store's only been open for whatever it is, 48 hours. And we're already ripping and shipping, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if you want to get your merch, Dome Dog shirts, Boiling Hot Take shirts, the Louisiana's Best Takes or Hottest Takes coffee mug, unbelievable coffee mug, all still available. So get on down there. Links in the description. Skrmetta.store, I believe, is the actual hyperlink, as you say. All right, let's get into it.
The Atlanta Hawks are trading the number 13 pick to the New Orleans Pelicans. Wow. Wait, is this right?
All right, so the Pels move up 10 spots. Okay, they had the 7, and they took Oklahoma guard Jeremiah Fears. Then they had the 23rd pick. They move up 10 spots, and they take Derik Queen. Now, if you are a college basketball degenerate gambler like me, then you remember Derik Queen for his game winner against Colorado State to send Maryland to the Sweet 16. Or it might have been in the Sweet 16. One of those two. I love Derik Queen. Love him like a brother. After that, that was a huge, huge, huge moment for me. Huge moment. I had Maryland going incredibly far in my bracket. I also had a ton of money on that game. I'll never forget it. You always forget your biggest wins. Now, what's going to be talked about and complained about and screamed about, and people are going to be crying all over their keyboard, is that the Saints or the Pelicans. I keep doing that. You talk about a fruity and slip. When I talk about the Pelicans, I keep saying the Saints. So, my apologies. It's hard to break bad habits, ladies and gentlemen. The Pelicans gave up their unprotected first for next year. Now, the problem with that is that the Pelicans were absolute dog ass this year. So for a team to give up, who was just horrible, who could have been, top 2 pick, number 1 overall pick, they could have been way up there. I mean, they were already 7, but they could have been even higher. They fell in the draft lottery. For a team to give up its unprotected is kind of weird, right? Because you're thinking the only possible way that works, besides Derik Queen being the man, is if you basically make the playoffs. And if you're in that lottery again, what a miss. Now, here's the part that I think people are missing, and we'll see if Nicholas talks about it in this video. I think if the Pelicans, the wager that they're making is they think they'll be good, which is risky, but if they are bad again, I think they'll blow it up. And I think they'll trade Zion or trade DeJounte or trade Trey or trade whoever and get lottery picks back. So in their mind, they're thinking, we'll leverage a lottery pick in the short term with the expectation we'll be good. But if we are not because of either bad play or injuries, we'll just blow it up, recoup the pick or recoup picks, and then we'll be good to go.
Hold on. This post has been deleted. I'm taking a screenshot of this, Shams, because I want to see what they're actually trading it for. All right, okay, so is this post still up? The Hawks are trading the 13th pick in the draft to the Pelicans for the 23rd pick and an unprotected 2026 first, which will be the
it's the more favorable pick between Milwaukee and the Pels is what the pick is.
Most favorable of New Orleans and Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Hold on. Did New Orleans just... Earmuffs, kids. New Orleans just fucking traded away their next year's first-round pick unprotected to move up from 23 to 13? That might be the most reckless draft day trade I've seen in 5 years. With absolutely no due respect. Who the hell does New Orleans think they are?
I mean, now again, remember, in the NBA, it's a little different. Like, a lottery pick is a lottery pick, right? So, saying like, oh, you traded away the first overall pick, because of the lottery, it's not really the case. Like, in the NFL, it's a little different, right? But if the Pels let's say the Pels are really bad, and let's say they're just in the lottery, because you can't even say like the 6th pick or whatever. Well, let's say they're a high percentage pick in the lottery. Then they just go they just trade for lottery picks, and then in their mind they're thinking, well, we'll just get back in the lottery. You know, for Atlanta, this is way less risk because they're just basically wagering that either the Pelicans or the Bucks will suck, which is, pretty likely. We just saw what the Pelicans did last year. So Dumars is incredibly risky, obviously it's fully betting on yourself, but also this like security blanket / golden parachute that, no, we'll just trade these guys for lottery picks. It's like, okay, well, what if there's not a trade market? What if you don't get lottery picks? What if we just saw with Brandon Ingram, what if like he has a year or whoever has a year and his trade value tanks? And all of a sudden you thought you could get a lottery pick for these players, and all of a sudden it's not the case. So that part, it's very, 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 very risky. We know 2 ways he can get out of it. Basically make the playoffs or blow it up.
What is New Orleans doing trading away? If Shams is... If that... Again, I am trusting Shams implicitly. Noah Singwe, whose name I'm mispronouncing, is the 12th pick. And now...
Wow.
At 13, again, I'm going to read this exactly. The Atlanta Hawks are trading the number 13 pick of the draft to New Orleans for the number 23 pick. Okay, 13 for 23, got it. And an unprotected 2026 first, which will be the most favorable of New Orleans and Milwaukee, sources tell ESPN.
Yes.
All right, now listen. Even if this is to take my guy that I have been begging someone to take for 30 minutes, Derik Queen, this is one of the most reckless trades I can possibly imagine. Also, of all the places I would be nervous about Derik Queen going, New Orleans is high on the list. Now, I have no idea who they're taking here. We're going to find out in a minute.
All right, we're going to skip ahead to when they actually take Derik Queen.
To move up from 23 to 13. How do you not get a protection on it? And by the way, here's the other thing on that. Just to be totally clear and fair about what they traded. It's Milwaukee or New Orleans.
Yeah.
The best of those. So it's...
Well, that's why Atlanta's sitting around saying like, well, man, I mean, we got a great shot here of having a super high pick. We have a great, because New Orleans was just bad, and Milwaukee has been trending down for a while now.
Even if New Orleans, like, no, it's not going to be a problem because we're going to be good. We know we're going to be good. What if Milwaukee trades Giannis?
Yeah, what if they get rid of Giannis? Yeah.
Or he gets injured and they're terrible? Then that pick goes. I'm glad we stayed on through the lottery. I could do an hour on this move. Zach Lowe just tweeted out a picture of the Pelican in the hospital. Oh my goodness. Hold on. I have to, we're going to stay on a little bit longer. Currently having a conniption about what the Pelicans just did. Come join me. Okay, so we're going to spend a few minutes. Congratulations to Derik Queen. I actually think he's going to be good. I think that's...
So real quick, I mean, I think the Pelicans, they kind of nailed the draft. I mean, you can say what you want about the trade, but as far as like the two players, getting Fears and Queen, like all of a sudden now the Pelicans are a very different team right now than they were 24 hours ago or 48 hours ago before they traded CJ. The Pels went from having no guards to having all the guards. They went from being old, not dynamic, slow, boring, to all of a sudden now, when you look at that team, not to go full zoomer here, but it's all aura. It's nothing but aura. It is nothing but these like super dynamic, super young, super athletic players who are ready to go, ready to shoot, ready to score. I mean, you think about Jordan Poole, Fears, Zion, Missy, Queen, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy. So there's stuff happening in that. Like there's some, and DeJounte Murray, when he gets healthy, who knows how long. I mean, an Achilles, like there's no telling. He's not like he's gonna be playing in game one, day one. But let's just count him. You got Murray, Poole, Fears, Murphy, Jones, Zion, Missy, Queen, like Jordan Hawkins off the bench. Like these guys now, this team is incredibly different than Jonas Valanciunas, Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum. Like, very different than that team. Very different. I'm not saying this team's going to compete, but you can see exactly what the front office is trying to do. And as someone who has been a season ticket holder for over 4 years now, I couldn't stand going to Pelicans games over the last couple of years. It was the worst part of my week. Right now, as I sit here, I'm kind of sneaky, like all in on the Pelicans. I'm kind of sneaky, like kind of excited for the Pels because it's so fresh and so new. And this does kind of remind me of what the Saints did or what they've done in this offseason, where the Tyler Shuck pick happens, the Spencer Rattler pick happens, everybody's screaming and freaking out and saying the Pels are going to be this. I mean, the Saints are going to be this, the Saints are going to be that. But as a Saints fan, you're sitting here going, I kind of like the youth. I kind of like these, I kind of like bringing in 9 draft picks. I kind of like bringing in Tyler Shuck and having Spencer Rattler compete. I kind of like having Danny Stutzman and getting Devin Neal in there and seeing what we have. I kind of like this. It's a new, fresh chapter. For the Pelicans, it's exactly what I would much rather have what the Pelicans have going on right now than have CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, and the same group of guys do the same thing over and over again.
A fun pick. And the Spurs, and this will be perfect. We can, while we really just react to what the Pelicans did, we'll find out who the Spurs and the Thunder take at 14 and 15 and then we'll be out of here. And by the way, the Nets still have all their picks. And the Nets haven't moved up. And the Nets right now are on track to draft 5 guys in the first round, which seems like that's probably not a sustainable thing. But whatever. So I want this to be very clear. New Orleans, which won 21 games this year, which has not had a resoundingly excellent season since Anthony Davis was there. Their closest thing to a successful season in the last 7 years was 2 years ago when they won 49 games, snuck in as the 8th seed. 49 games, not sneaking in. That's good. And got absolutely lambasted in round 1. 4-0. Last year, they took those 49 wins. Clearly, they thought we could be good. And despite that, they won 21 games. Okay? Zion is obviously a huge question mark.
Yeah, he's the biggest question mark of all time.
They also just traded for Jordan Poole.
Mans is the Riddler.
Who, calling him a question mark, I think is fair.
Yes. Yes.
At the very...
I will say, though, Jordan Poole, if he's your third scorer, fourth, whatever, if he's what he was in Golden State, good. If he's your one, if he's the guy who's supposed to carry you night in, night out like he was in Washington, bad.
Very least, though, what they had was their own first-round pick next year, which could be important because DeJounte Murray, someone they, in theory, were relying on, could miss most of the year, if not all of the year, with a torn Achilles. They also had the option to swap that pick with Milwaukee, which, and this is why swaps are interesting, I think that's the last piece of the Drew Holiday to Milwaukee trade. And that, if Milwaukee trades Giannis, or if something were to happen to Giannis, maybe that ends up being a super valuable swap. Not likely, but possible. To give that up, to move up 10, and you can't be like, we thought this was a once-in-a-generation player. You could have taken this guy an hour ago.
Well, I know they mentioned that they did like Queen at 7. I think if everyone else wasn't there, I think they would have taken Queen at 7. So they certainly did like him, but
you drafted Fears,
not
which
as much
again,
as Fears. Fears is sweet.
I'm fine with that, and I like awesome. Derik Queen. But to trade away your own unprotected pick next year / Milwaukee's unprotected pick next year to move from 23 to 13 is...
It is reckless, for sure. He used a good word. Like, it's not dumb. It's not... It is straight up reckless. It is straight up... going to the blackjack table and you are doubling down on all kind of different numbers.
Insanity. I would say that has a 30% chance, 35% chance of being a top 5 pick, and a 70% chance of being a top 10 pick that you just traded away.
That's kind of, that math probably isn't correct. Like, he's saying there's 100% chance that the Pelicans have a top 10 pick next year. I'm not going to bust out the abacus, but I don't think that math is right.
I am flabbergasted by that. I like these moves the Hawks have made.
Okay, so you can look in life. Here's a little advice. In life, people get bogged down in decision making, and a lot of life is just decision points. When you, I mean, this is some just straight up life advice from the face. If you can defend your decision, if you can explain your decision, if you've thought about it and you can explain it, do it. And do it unabashedly and let it rip. If you can't explain why you're doing something, if you're just ripping, if you're just shooting from the hip, you probably need to, do some due diligence. But if you can explain it and you have the vision and you understand why you're making the decision and you're ready to defend that decision, then go ahead and make it. I think the Pelicans are in that situation where they can, just like I said earlier in the video, they're telling you why they made this trade. They're defending it by saying, we see this as relatively risk-free because we have two ways out. Way one is we're good, and then who cares? We're good. Derik Queen's good. We don't care at all. We're a playoff team. We're focused on that. Way two is, okay, well, we suck. We're going to blow it up. We're going to get rid of DeJounte, get rid of Zion. But now we're back in the lottery, more than likely. And also, we now have this super young core, this super young vision. Right? The Pelicans are on two different tracks. The two tracks could overlap if the Pels are good, because then you keep your current players and then your young players just add depth. But if they blow it all up and you're sitting there with Jordan Poole, Jeremiah Fears, not even Poole really. Let's just say Fears, Queen, Murphy, Jones. Okay. Right? Like Missy. Just that right there. If the Pels blow it up, and now you're sitting there, think about how young that team is of Fears, Queen, Murphy, Jones, and Missy. Even if you have to get rid of one of them, even if you have to trade Herb Jones, even if you have to trade Trey Murphy, and you whatever it ends up being, and you have some combination of Fears, Queen, Missy, Jones, Murphy, Hawkins, it's obvious where they're going, right? And in that situation, they're thinking, well, we got rid of Zion or DeJounte or whoever, and we got these lottery picks, and now we've got this young core, and we got the lottery pick. So they're seeing it as they're kind of doing two things at one time, is how I see it. Now, it could absolutely blow up in their face if they are horrible. Derik Queen's horrible, or they can't move off the players, where there is no trade market for Zion. There is no trade market for DeJounte Murray. There is no trade market for Herb Jones or Trey Murphy or whoever they end up trying to move. And they end up with a bunch of late first or second round picks or role player or whatever. And they don't get the lottery pick that they thought they could get. And they can't get back in there. And it delays everything. That certainly could happen. But I love the fact that Dumars coming in here and he's like, we're changing some stuff up. I love that. I love that he's coming in here and saying, we're shaking things up. We're bringing players in. We're moving players around. We're trading for players. We're doing this. We're doing that. We have an identity. We have a vision. Let's rock and roll. I like that a lot. So is it reckless? Is it crazy? Is it a gamble? Is it a risk? Yes, but, sometimes you got to race. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me know in the comments below what you think. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. I'm ordering my Derik Queen jersey right now.